You're listening to the YWAM Nashville podcast. My name's Cody.
My name's Michael, and we'll be your hosts for this season.
What episode is it? I don't remember.
21.
21. I'm almost positive.
Episode 21.
Wow.
Mike
Podcast is old enough to drink now.
I was just going to say that.
Congratulations, podcast.
Well, and on that note.
Yep. We're all going to go home.
All right. Well, welcome to episode 21.
Welcome.
Hello and welcome
To episode 21.
to our last episode this season.
Oh.
Wow. Way to
Oh.
throw it in there.
Oh, was
The
it too early?
pain.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't ready.
Forget
It's
that.
a little
Forget
too
that.
early.
We'll
Just
wait.
kidding.
We'll hold off. Okay. Just kidding.
So, yep. This is, we decided, even though actually last episode I was like, oh, I'll just kidnap Cody and we'll make it happen. Turns out we
won't kidnap.
We won't kidnap Cody.
Cody cannot be
It turns
kidnapped.
out, yeah. So we kind of prayed about it, and we're talking and discussing and praying and pondering and
And crying.
crying, holding each other,
A lot
and
of crying.
weeping, and decided that this would need to take a pause.
This is
Yep.
the last episode.
Yep, it's important to give DTS your all. And I'm going to set that example as staff. So,
True that, and it'd be
Wow.
hard when he goes on outreach and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah. This is me calling in from Africa.
Here we are.
At 3 a.m.
3
Say hello
a.m.
to the lions.
Oh, and here's a giraffe.
Yeah, it was like,
They
what
make-
noise?
Meh.
They just chew. That's all
They
they
look
do.
really dorky.
Oh, man.
He's like, hi.
God was like, you're going to be
I'm
a horse.
giraffe.
But I'm
You're
going
like
to
a
make your
horse
neck
version.
real long, like Play-Doh. And they like roll.
It's like a high-pitched horse.
Like God was like making the giraffe, and Jesus was like, hey, and he's like, what?
Oh, oops. Oh, well.
Oh man.
That's
So yeah,
funny.
anyways, last episode for at least this season, we are pretty certain that we'll make a season 2
Yes.
in a less busy
Yeah.
season of life.
Season 2.
Yeah.
So, but this is it. This is
For now.
what it is.
Yes.
So, it's going to be all right, Michael.
My baby's all grown up. He's moving out. He's 21. He's going to college. Actually, he go to college at like 18.
He's going to college.
I held on to him for a
Tell
few
him to go to
lived in the
DTS
basement.
first.
yeah.
Till he was
I
21.
finally kicked him out. Oh, man. So, I guess we can move into our last prayer topic session.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, I think this will actually be our last prayer point segment. Because
Yeah.
we were feeling more like just dropping it in the future and like combining it with kind of base happenings at the end and being like, here's stuff that's going on that you can pray for or get involved in and just kind of mesh it together.
That's a good idea.
Because we really haven't had things like on hand for it a lot of times.
We're
And-
generally
Like it's-
unprepared.
yeah, that's
well,
what I was
yeah,
gonna say. It's
that's
just
true too.
unprepared.
Like if this was my
unprepped.
full-time job was just like getting ready for the podcast all the time, then it would be great.
You'd find
but-
things to pray about.
I mean, you can, but then you like sit down and you're like, we need to pray.
Yeah.
Chinese people? Sure. I mean, you can come up with something
You're
to pray
like,
for, but that wasn't
I'll
our
pray for
original
Aunt
intention
Joe's
for
foot.
it anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
Yeah. Nix it.
Nick's combine, mesh.
Mesh
It's like
it.
Play-Doh,
Mesh it.
squish it together.
Yes. Splat.
so
So that being said,
Okay, so last prayer topic.
yeah, so something we're kind of thinking, since the whole kind of a big reason that it is the last episode is because the DTS is starting in how many days?
Woo!
like 10 and a half.
Well, September 20th. That's when it's starting.
Yeah.
So,
Right around that corner.
so that will be exciting. Anyways,
Come one, come
So-
all.
if you guys want to pray for the DTS and just pray that the Lord shows up and has his way in the hearts of the people, / maybe, somebody shows up on the last day, we're always open for more students.
Surprise.
So if you're listening and you feel like, oh, maybe I missed it, just show up at the door.
Yeah. Let the Spirit lead.
Let's go. So, anyways, that's that. All right. Now we're actually moving into the last season one dad
Michael,
joke.
It's not the last one.
It's
We're gonna have
the last
we're gonna
one.
have season
It's never
2.
gonna happen.
It's gonna
again.
happen, Michael.
All right. So, for those who may not have joined us except for on this this last episode,
Yep.
we are playing with some different theme songs and things. So, you can let us know which one was your favorite over the last handful of episodes that we've done this, and maybe that'll be like the set one for season 2 when that comes back around.
Yeah.
So,
comment below.
Maybe.
comment
Although
below.
it's kind of fun
Let
doing random ones all
us-
the time.
us know. It is pretty fun.
I think I have an idea what he's gonna do actually.
Well, it's time for that Oakland Cody. It's time for that Oakland Cody.
Shoot dang, man.
Anyways, all right, Cody, what you got for us?
Well, the other day, my son asked me, "Can I have a bookmark?" And I just burst into tears. It's been 11 years, and he still doesn't know my name is Brian. just think about that for a minute. I think you'll get it eventually.
Oh,
You
man.
read that the whole time.
All right, say it again. Say it again for us.
Yeah, could you tell us one more time?
You want me to do it without an accent?
Sure.
Okay. The other day, my son asked me, "Can I have a bookmark?" And I just burst into tears because it's been 11 years and he still doesn't know that my name is Brian.
I still can't even. I can't even, Cody.
I think that was a good last dad joke.
What?
But if you want to do a bonus one,
Oh, what?
a bonus dad joke.
Bonus dad joke.
What is that joke?
I really like hedge trimmers. Wait. The hedge trimmer is cutting hedge technology.
Oh, wow.
Wow. There it is. There's the flavor.
You put the spice in spicy. Cody.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, what's the Y then?
It's,
What?
well, that was Dad Jokes with Cody. You tune in next time for more Dad Jokes with Cody.
Next time, next season.
Next time we'll actually have a Lena play the banjo, and it'll be great.
Woo.
Get some Cripple Creek up in here.
Oh, yeah. All right. Sorry if we offended anybody that likes bluegrass. I actually really like bluegrass.
I would, but I worked at a theme park for 5 years where it played constantly in the background. I don't know.
So
I just
now,
think
He's
about-
like, I've never recovered.
I think
now
about
he
working.
wouldn't.
The
It reminds
drama.
me of work.
Yeah.
He has dreams, and there's bluegrass.
Oh no.
Always.
I'm just kidding. It's
I
not that
used
bad.
to, when I was like 10 years old, my first job was a strawberry picker. They
Wow.
called me the picker. And
Picker.
at night, I would dream about strawberries every night because you'd spend hours out there. I don't dream about strawberries anymore, but
Yeah, I used to dream about scooping frozen lemonade. It was more like a nightmare than a dream,
that's
actually.
the worst. I would like
Angry
close my
customers.
eyes.
Yeah.
And like on the back of your eyelids is the
You're like,
picture
I
of
see
the
strawberry patterns.
bush. Yeah.
I dreamt about mowing grass.
Oh,
I feel like
we
being a
will
strawberry-
recover, guys.
I
We
feel like being a
will.
strawberry picker sounds like a book. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah,
Like the main character
that's
like
true.
works in a strawberry field patch.
Right, but you don't find that out till the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, to me, it's like the picker. Rated
The
R.
picker.
Okay.
Anyways,
Speaking of
anyways.
Hannah's past,
this
we
is
should
Hannah.
introduce her. Yeah.
Hola.
Welcome, Hannah.
You might have heard her not cold voice in
Yes.
the money episode. I don't remember what episode that is, but
The money episode.
Money
Yeah,
episode.
it's like 15 or 16 or something.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
But anyways,
I'm
yeah.
Hannah.
yeah, she's Hannah,
Solely.
mother of 3,
Wife of one.
wife of 1.
that. Hope so. Wife of Luke, who was in also one of our
Episode 4,
Mini episodes. Oh, episode 4. Wow.
from self-righteous slavery to
one of the OGs.
Man.
something freedom. Anyways, I don't remember what we
There you
named
go.
him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anywho,
So
and
that's
she loves
me.
to work out,
I love
and
to work out.
plants,
Mhm. I have some
and
plants.
decorate.
everything
I decorate.
hipster.
Yep, everything hipster. That's me. That's my
Hannah in a
nickname,
nutshell.
actually. Everything
go.
hipster. Yeah. Here I am.
Wow.
great. It's good to have you.
But
Thanks.
also, she really likes community, which
Woo!
consequently is what we're talking about.
What are the odds?
Community.
Yeah.
So, did I mean to say consequently or
Consequentially.
consequentially?
I don't know. I
I
which
feel like
is the
that's
word.
right.
Okay.
Anyways,
Well, now
It's
they're
fine.
both out there, so whichever one of those is right.
Whichever
is what you meant to
word.
say.
pick one, edit it in, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
Okay.
Anyways, so yep, that's Hannah.
Yeah.
So,
So community.
yeah. So we were thinking we could start with Hannah sharing some of like just her experience and why she has a big heart for community.
Yeah.
So, take it away.
Yeah. Okay, so I grew up and I was homeschooled. Like
Oh,
many
no.
of us in the room right now, we were homeschooled. And but we kind of went in and out of having like community here and there. There was a short season when I was younger when we had like great homeschool group, like totally experienced good community and stuff. And also, I mean, I grew up a Christian, so we were always in church and whatnot. But yeah, then there was a long period. So from age 12 to probably 18, 19, where we had moved away from, we lived in a small little town, then we moved to the city, and we were like far away from that small little town, and I like lost all the community I had, and I just spent, it was like a really hard season of life where I spent years in just isolation, and it was just not healthy. It was not a healthy spot, and that's kind of a long story. Probably, I don't know, we need to go that direction, but basically it was just an unhealthy place of isolation. And but let's see, at age maybe 17-ish, I just like felt like, oh man, like I'm not doing well and I just need Jesus. And I had really good encounter with Jesus in my previous community who like really loved the Lord. And the church we were going to after our move wasn't super like, it was like really surfacey Christianity, I feel like, compared to what I had come from, where it was like really deep Christianity, and like we experienced the Lord and like knew that he spoke to us and whatever. And so anyways, I knew, I was like, I need Jesus. I've seen him before, like move in people's lives. I'm just going to spend a lot of time with him. So I started just like spending time with Jesus, and I just felt like he was saying I had to get into community again. So ended up, long story short, there was a small group at another church of like young adults. So this was 19-ish. I think I was 19-ish now. So it spent another few years without community, but knowing I had to have it. And I was so nervous to go to this small group, but I felt like Jesus was like, that's the small group, you need to go. And I was like, no, not going to do it. But Jesus won in the end. And so I ended up starting to go to this small group. And it was just such a kiss from the Lord. Like a lot of the people there were in a similar spot where they had been looking for community and hadn't had good community in a few years. So we were just like all in. We were like, we need each other. We're going to do life together. We're going to, hang out regularly and like seek the Lord together. And yeah, it just like changed my life. And I feel like, so one, I was brought out of isolation, which was really healing. But then also like, I feel like the Lord used community to like bring me into a lot more healing that I needed. And like, yeah, there's healing that you can't get when you're isolated. That like, I think you really need brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers there for you to like get into. So anyways, so now I am 28 years old, and I have been in community how long? 8 years, I guess, ish. 8, 9,
Sounds
something
right.
like that. 8, 9 years.
I don't know.
But I will never go back.
Come on.
Yeah. So I love community.
To community.
To community. I'll never go back
She's like,
to
I've lived it
community.
I've lived in it for so long.
For so long.
I can't take it anymore.
Community. Okay. Yeah, so that's my passion for community comes from that.
Right on. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So I think from there we kind of wanted to move into like where like kind of starting with like what we see God's heart like within the scriptures and stuff, and kind of like the basis for this idea of community. And I know that you were saying some stuff.
Some stuff.
So
I
you
was
want to
saying
share
some
that
stuff. Yeah. All right. So, I love community. And I feel like, I got to experience like a really broad range of community, not just like Sunday mornings or like, Sunday mornings and Wednesday night, but, so this young adult group that, we were in, we were all like, I don't think any of us were married when we started coming to this young adult group. And it was actually this this lady in our church, a single lady in our church who hadn't gotten married. And she was like, I think in her late 40s when she started the small group, but she just felt like God said, start a young adult group in the church. So she really became like a mother to us in not like a nurturing, tender way, but in like a passionate, she loved us really well. She had intentions to disciple us well. And she really took us under her wing. But, anyway, so none of us were married, but we all started to get married. And then we lived just all over Indianapolis, all of us in our parents' homes until getting married, for the most part. And so we all just felt like we were supposed to get houses near each other. Maybe not felt like, but more just like we're like, we should get houses near each other. Yeah. So we all started to buy homes within 5-10 minutes from each other. And small group moved from the church to our house, and because we were the first to have children. Then we all started having kids and whatever. And it just became this like beautiful community of like, we have had time to like get to know each other and been through a lot to get like a lot of major life experiences, like marriage, babies, buying homes, like stuff like that, where it's like, that's kind of big things in your life, Yeah. And the whole time Robbie, our small group leader, is just discipling us and intentionally spending time with us. And so one of the best scriptures, the scriptures I loved the best about community, Acts 2:43, and I'll just read it. A sense of awe was felt by everyone, and many wonders and signs were taking place through the apostles. And all those who had believed in Jesus as Savior were together and had all things in common, considering their possessions to belong to the group as a whole. And they began selling their property and possessions and were sharing the proceeds with all the other believers as anyone had need. And day after day, they met in the temple area, continuing with one mind and breaking bread in various private homes. And they were eating their meals together with joy and generous hearts, praising God continually and having favor with all people. And the Lord kept adding to their numbers daily those who were being saved. It's just such a good verse about community. It's so exciting. Yeah. So anyways, we started out as just like, I think there were like 6 or 7 of us. And then, then we all started getting married and whatever. So that was, multiplication happened there and, but, then once we started meeting in our house, we just grew to like 20, 30 people meeting in our house, not because we were that cool. Like we weren't really the cool group of people, but we were just really intentional to get to know each other and like, and we just loved each other super well. And I feel like none of us got offended very easily at each other, which is very helpful in community. Yeah. And so we just loved each other without, what's a good word for it? Like without expecting anything in return. Like just, we loved each other really well. And I feel like the whole like buying and selling property, like this verse talks about, Acts 2 verse 45, they began selling their property and possessions and were sharing with all who had need. And they like considered their possessions and belongings as a to belong to the group as a whole.
Yeah.
What this version says, amplified version. We kind of all did that, which was just amazing to actually have that play out. Like, so we bought a house, and it was like a house that it needed to be renovated, and so a lot of things were breaking down and whatever. But our air conditioning went out after a few months of living there, which is rough. And it was midsummer, and I was very pregnant. And
Midsummer's Eve.
And it was just so difficult. But one of the people in the small group got everyone together and was like, hey, we need to get them a new AC unit. And so our insurance was going to cover it, but we had to still put in the
Down payment?
down payment. Is that the right
Deposit?
word?
No,
It's not the right word.
There's
There's a
deductible.
Deductible.
Oh,
Is
there
that
you go.
right? Yeah.
I feel like
think
I believe
so.
the deductible.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word. Sorry if that's wrong, people. But we had to still put down this deductible, which was going to be $1,000. And we just didn't have $1,000 in savings. So we were like, what are we going to do? And they just all got together and like paid the deductible for us. And then
Wow.
we got this new AC unit. And another thing that happened, it was like finances were just like shared. Like people just saw needs, and we just like all shared. Like I feel like we received the most, honestly. Like I don't know why. Like it was just a kiss from the Lord, like favor, whatever. But
Unforeseen or sloppy wet?
unforeseen. Oh, sloppy wet. For sure. And it's original intent. Okay, but we one time there was, so the church loved our small group, like, but like didn't have very much involvement in it. Like they didn't like say what we needed to study or like do, or like didn't have much involvement. They just like loved us and whatever. And for some reason they decided to give someone like a large check and just like to bless them. And I think they were doing this, like they were just praying and saying like what people and what different groups of people should, like, does the Lord say to give this money to. So the church just like gave someone this large check, and they knew that another person's an appliance, I think the stove was broken. They knew the stove was broken, and so they just like gave the check to this person so that the stove could be fixed. So it was this really cool, like we just considered each other like more than ourselves, and like it was just really fun. So yeah, I feel like one of the biggest things I learned though is like I think community can be this obscure term. It's like get into a small group, get into a community group, and you're just like, okay, a group of people that I hang out with sometimes, and it can be this obscure term. But I feel like a way better word for it is like family. Like, and I think biblically, like, family is what God intended. And so community mirrors that, like God's first intention. Like from the beginning, God like created a family. Like God made Adam and Eve. He's like, have babies, let's have a family, we're gonna do this together. And so like from the very beginning, like earth was intended to be like this home for God's family. And so now like with like Jesus came and like died for us, and he like referred to God as like Father the entire time, to like remind the people God is your Father. Like this is supposed to be a family. And so I feel like in community we're actually just supposed to be the family of God. It's not like this obscure term of like we hang out together or we're like discipled by some of the same people or whatever. But it's like the intent is to learn to be the family of God. And I feel like that's why the apostles would call each other, they would write to whatever church and they'd be like brothers, and they'd be like beckoning that like we are brothers here. Let's not treat each other whatever way, you know, like we are family here. And as I was like studying some of this stuff about community, I just kept thinking of the term, that phrase that people say when they're like, oh, I'll do anything for family, like anything for family. And I feel like that's the heart, like the heart of it. The heart of God is like, he wants us to have that the same mentality of like anything for family. Like we will stick up for each other and be there for each other and like think the best of one another and prefer each other before ourselves. Yeah, so I feel like the goal of community is just like building this family. So
It's so good.
yeah.
Something I thought of when you were talking about that, and I've never really thought about this. Like I've been like recognizing like all throughout Scripture that God uses this like father like a metaphor for himself. But I never thought about like Jesus. Like Jesus could have referred to him as anything, and could have referred to him as like, "Oh Creator,"
The
like
Holy
the Creator
One.
wants to tell you, the Holy One wants to, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And but he like chose to, at least as far as I know, pretty much all of the time, like use father as like, this is how God wants to relate to you.
Right.
And that's why I'm like very intentionally using this term.
Right.
And so like it's blowing my mind right now.
I know.
Also, I've been thinking about it with the Acts verse. Because I've heard people be like, well, it's, you know, it's just kind of what they did, like whatever. And I'm like, probably this is a logical thing, but probably like that's what Jesus did, and we see Jesus living in community, and so that's why they take this particular method, because that's what they saw. It's not like they were like, and a new thing all of a sudden because we decided this was a good idea.
All of a sudden we became so generous. We're gonna share everything.
But he was like, no, this is what's been modeled for us the past 3 years.
So true.
So like, of course, this is what we're gonna do. And then like when we start church communities beyond this, even in the Gentiles, like this is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's actually what you like hear about historically. Like it looked a lot more like, it wasn't like, come to a service and you know, whatever. So
right. Yeah, I feel like that scripture in Acts wasn't like, obviously there was no like command within it, but the experience of it was like so important to convey to the reader of like, this was amazing. And then at the end there it's like let's see, Acts 2 verse 47, and the Lord kept adding to their numbers daily to those who were being saved. And it's just like, they were like, this worked. Not that it's a formula to like make new believers, but the family was growing. Like the family was multiplying and growing. And there's something so attractive about, I feel like that's what we experienced in our small group, is like, we loved each other really well. And like, when people saw like how we loved each other, they were like, man, I like need this. I want to be in this. And I'm part of the family here. And so yeah, I feel like that's super cool to think that Jesus probably modeled this. I'm like, I'm sure.
Also the John 17 thing, which I love to refer to pretty much all the time.
I love John 17.
But Jesus is like, let them be one as we are one, like I and the Father are one, which is family.
Yes.
In order that people will know that you've sent me. It wasn't like, let them be one as in they tolerate each other, you know, once a week or something.
Right.
It was like,
I have to love you, but I don't have to like you.
Yeah. I can't even.
I know.
But like, think about how the Father and Jesus are one, and like how we don't even know how to like describe that.
Yeah.
And that's what he's like, Lord, let them be one like that.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like even these tangible ways, I'm like, this still isn't like the fullness of what the Lord wants. You know?
There's so much to grow in. Just that intimacy of like, we are meant to be this family that is on the same page in so many areas. I'm not saying that we have differences in the way, like I think that there's uniquenesses. There's really intentional, unique aspects of the body, like that scripture in Corinthians that talks about It's referring to spiritual gifts, but it's talking about like, it's like we're a body. Some people are the hand, some people are the eye. We need all of it,
Yeah.
but we're supposed to all be on the same page and moving in the same goal, because the hand can't go to Texas and the eyeball go to Indiana. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's like the whole body needs to be functioning and going towards Jesus, all in one direction and like in a unified manner, even though they operate differently. I also, as I was like praying through this and like studying what community looks like from a biblical mindset, I was thinking about how like, so God's intention is for us to be family, and it starts out with us being like sons of God or daughters, children of God, and we're like adopted in, but we're like his real kids, and there's also like scriptures that call for the need for fathers and mothers. Like, we need people who are more mature who will like grow us up. And so there's like that aspect of it. But then there's also this like super cool, like uneven, like not even comprehensible, I don't think, kind of barely comprehensible picture of like, we are actually, right now we're kids, but we're maturing into the bride of Christ. And like, when we reach this point of maturity, then we will marry Jesus like as the bride, which is also just another aspect of family. Like, marriage is the start of a family, you know, like, so that's a whole new, if you just dream about that for a little bit, it's so like, good. Oh my goodness. And then what's next after that? Like, we have all of eternity, and that's just the marriage. Like,
then comes
there's so
the
much
baby
more
in the baby carriage.
I know, exactly. Which is like, what does that mean?
What does
Jesus?
that even mean?
What does that mean?
Oh man,
it's all very exciting. And
it is.
Yeah.
And it excites me because I'm like, it's for something. Like, we're like, it's not just now. Like, we're moving towards some greater
like
something.
It's gonna be a greater family. Come.
Exactly. And then the grandkids, like, come on. No. That's so far down the line. Can't think of that. We're not even at the wedding yet.
Oh man. So, you mentioned in your thing about like how you, like, community enabled you to find like some healing and have personal growth in general. Mm-hmm. So, like, just to kind of make that a point of emphasis, and like, if you want to like specify that in general, how you saw that, how you've seen that in other people around you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that when I was so back in high school, when that season of just being really isolated, not knowing how to have community, and not having, just like not having good Christians around me, even though we went to church, but it was kind of this, just kind of a surface level Christianity church, and the youth group was like that. So I'm like, where do I get this right now? And, but I just, I think I kind of thought, like, I left, like, I moved away from the best community, and so there's just not another one out there. Like, they're really rare, which I think good community kind of is too rare, like, it needs to be everywhere, and it's not everywhere yet. But yeah, so I had some like pretty significant like internal healing I needed to do. So I had really significant hurt from childhood that I needed to work through. But I just didn't really know how to like, and I knew like there were like signs of like I struggled really badly with an eating disorder, and that was part of like, I was so isolated and like in this like hiding mode, and I like was struggling with self-hatred and stuff like that. That stemmed from trauma when I was younger, like pain or whatever from when I was younger. And I knew, so that point of like, I know that I have to have Jesus, and he's the only one who can like heal me. And I knew enough to know that like this eating disorder wasn't just like a thing. It was like, I have pain that I have to work through, and I don't know how. And one of the like really hard parts is my parents were Christian counselors at the time, and they knew that I had an eating disorder, but I was like, but they like didn't really know what to do with me, kind of like, not in a bad way, not like, oh, what do we do with you? It was just like, I don't know that they knew how to help me.
Legitimately weren't sure how to handle the situation.
Just legitimately weren't sure how to handle the situation. And And yeah, so I was like, okay, so it's just me and Jesus. Like, I know Jesus is gonna help and whatever. And so I just started to like spend time with Jesus in my room, and like we would just talk. Like, I just started talking to Jesus, and like he would bring up things that were like painful, and then he would like show me, but I like say, like, for one, I felt really abandoned in some areas of my life. And Jesus was like, but I am always with you. And he like taught me that, and like began just to show me how much he's with me. And there are many more of that type of thing. But anyways, so then Jesus and I got to a point in this like healing journey where he was like, okay, you have done enough work with just me, and now you need people around you. And I just felt like he was saying, like, not that he could totally just like do all the healing work, he and I, like he could have done that, but I felt like he was saying he wanted to use people, and not just like this alone time with Jesus. And so and that was super hard. I had spent so many years just like isolated, struggling in my own sin, and just like in that muck, like, this grossness. And I was like, but I can't get out. Like, I don't want, and I was like scared to like get into community. I'm like, they're going to see all my mess. And so even through some of that healing, I still was struggling with this eating disorder. And so I'm like, they're all going to know. They all like hear Jesus speak. He's going to tell them all that like I'm in this deep sin and whatever. And so, but I just felt like he was so gentle and kind, and he was like, no, Hannah, you need community, and the rest of your healing will come with community. So I feel like within maybe 3 months of being in this community, I was like just so much more whole. I don't know a better way to say it. It's like, and I don't even have like a specific example of like, oh, Jesus said this when I was in community and that changed my life. It was like just having people around me who loved me and knew me, like that feeling of I'm known here, known and loved.
Yeah.
Then just began to like do this mending process inside. I didn't know that isolation was so bad until, or so, not bad, like harmful for me until I had community. And then I realized like, oh, this was God's intention from the beginning, that like family around you. And there was something really huge about being loved and known within community. I think that's really important. Like as a family, you're supposed to love each other and be known by each other. And that's really intentional, not just like, oh, we kind of hang out and see each other and play games together, but like, just being like knowing each other on like a intimate level, like knowing what we struggle with, or like what we're going through, or what we've come out of, things like that. That's like the deeper things. I think that's the biggest.
It's kind of interesting to me that, like, because I've experienced a lot of that, like, myself. And it wouldn't even be like super specific things, like you said, where the God, like, through community was like, let me address this specific issue. But there was like this general just like sense of, I don't know, greater belonging and stuff that like I think like kept me from a lot of dark places that I would have gone to, but also like helped bring me out, like, kind of indirectly, because I found that like when I was isolated a lot, like it's just a lot less healthy mentally, and then when like God says to, like, when he says about Adam, like, oh, it's not good for man to be alone, I was like, I get this.
That's like, so good.
I feel that, so
I totally agree.
It's so good though.
That is so good. I was thinking about this is kind of along the same line, but more on like the spiritual level. I was thinking about how I was looking for places in scripture where community was really strong, and I mean, it's easy to find stories of family, like the Israelites, all those families, you have Abraham and all of them. But I was thinking about how like the Israelites came out of Egypt together, and that was like, I mean, they struggle bust it, but they came out of Egypt together, you know.
Spent 40 years in the desert and all died, but their kids made it.
But there's something really beautiful too. Like, I tend to look at the story of Israelites coming out of Egypt and just being like, oh my goodness, you guys are in a rough place. Like in a lot of areas, you know, you still want to worship cows, you know, like what? But I feel like there is something really cool to think that as a group of people, as a community or a family, whatever you want to call it, like they came out of bondage together. Like they had each other to do it. Yes, they went around in circles. And I think that that's also another picture. Like community, totally. Like it's not all perfect, you know, like
there's not a straight line.
No, it's not a straight line.
Point A to point B.
Sometimes it takes 40 years, but like together there's like a leaving of bondage behind. And
I think God could have like taken a couple and been like, hey, you guys sneak out and we'll just go.
Sure. I know.
But he was like, nah, we're
going to do it
all
together.
Y'all together.
He's like,
not
this
by
time.
yourselves. Yeah.
Noah was enough.
We're
bringing you all this time.
Oh, man.
See that rainbow?
See that rainbow?
Y'all coming.
There it is.
Get in the car. We're going to the promised land, suckers.
I don't care. Get in the car.
Get in the car right now.
Oh, man. So how did you see like community affect and like this sense of family like affect unity? Like I'm thinking specifically, and we could take this any number of directions, but the question I'm thinking specifically is like in our more spread out stuff, if we have disunity, we like can escape it. We don't have to deal with it.
Right.
Whereas I've seen like specifically in community, like a lot of times you can't just escape it, but that actually tends to be like better.
You
know, so
you like
how,
have to deal with the issues.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like so before we moved from Indianapolis, there was just like we had years of peace in community, but then for some reasons there was just tension that
everything exploded
up. Yeah, there was stuff that came up that was rough. But I mean, I don't think that I have so much wisdom on this. I think the biggest thing I feel like I've learned within staying unified is to like not assume things about people. Like not as like if you're going to assume something, assume that they have a good heart and like they're unintending. You know, there's like things that are unintentional or that like just have a ton of grace for people. Like know that whatever reason they're doing that thing, there's probably something else going on that's a little bit deeper. Like there's a lot more than just like that surface, whatever is happening on the surface. And just staying really unoffendable, like being so humble and like unoffendable. And I feel like those were some of the biggest keys to like getting through some of the hard conversations and like having to confront people and things like that. And I think that that passage in Matthew, I don't know, I could look it up. The passage in Matthew that talks about like if you have an offense with your brother, like go to him and talk it out with him, and then if he won't hear you, bring someone else with you, and then you guys can all work it out, you know, like having kind of a mediator there with you. Like I mean, we used that model and it was, I feel like it was helpful. Some of the stuff didn't totally get resolved. This stuff all came up like 2 months before we were moving to Nashville. Like, and we had already, like, it came up as our plans were. Like, it didn't mean we didn't leave because of this stuff. It just like happened in the middle of like the moving process. So some of the stuff like I don't feel like got resolved fully. Like, and if I had, like, if we had stayed there, we would have. I mean, we resolved to the best of our ability, and then, you know, we moved, and so we're still really good friends with all those people. But you know, also we don't have the same issues because we moved. You know. Yeah. I think the best advice is staying, like, don't assume things about people. Like, assume the best about people, not assuming, oh, they did this because they think this of me or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
assume the best about people. Stay so unoffendable. Stay so humble in the middle of it, and be willing to be wrong, I think, is huge too. Like, it's okay if you make a mistake, or if you like your heart wasn't right in the middle of whatever. Like, just say sorry and like move on. Don't stay in that same place, or like get super mad at yourself or each other. Like, it's not how Jesus was. So,
And be willing to be wronged, because it happens.
Yeah, that's so good.
It's like trust, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, I know that you
that's so
could
good.
like wrong me in this way, but I'm
Mhm.
gonna choose to believe that you won't, and then
Yeah.
even if you do, it's okay. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's all about that trust. Yeah.
Mm.
So Luke and I love to wrestle, and so I used to really like I've given him a few bloody noses while we wrestle. Total accident. Never intended to do it.
Sure.
No, it's always
I know.
unintentional. But he used to get so like he would just get mad, and then one day he like I had heard him while we were wrestling, and he like went off and he prayed, and he like came back and he was like, "You're allowed to hurt me," and it just like changed everything for us. It was, so that was it kind of like goes along with it. It's like, and it like that was a really big moment. I feel like I don't know if it was a big moment for me of being like, it's okay if I hurt him. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like a
I
big
don't know.
moment for him too.
yeah, I think it probably was just like he went away, talked to Jesus, and was like, "You're allowed to hurt me." And I know that's a really silly story,
No,
but
I
it
feel
fits.
like that's so good.
It's like so
Yeah.
applicable
No, yeah.
within community and family.
I feel like that's Jesus.
I know. Even
I
knowing
know.
like you have permission to hurt me,
Yeah.
and we'll still be in relationship, and I will forgive you.
Yes.
That like takes such a load off of the relationship in
know.
general.
Yeah. And like it's not going to
Yeah.
change
Right.
Yeah.
the dynamic. We're not going to like put up walls
Right.
and these things. It's like
Yeah.
That's great.
There's so
Glad
much
you
Jesus.
shared
It's
that.
great.
There's
Yeah.
so much Jesus in
There's
that.
so much Jesus in that.
I'm
I
get
know.
emotional. Oh man.
Luke has so much Jesus, guys.
And he's just so
That's all I have
like
to say.
intense and intentional. Luke is.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man.
it's
he
like
really is.
a good analogy.
If he came
Yeah.
and said that to me, I'd be like,
Bring it in.
Come on. Come
oh
here.
man. Yeah, I feel like I've seen that a lot here, like on base,
Mm.
where it's like,
Like, if you want to wrestle, we can wrestle.
yeah, I mean,
That. No.
I'll take you.
I'll take it.
But like as far as conflict in general,
Mm-hmm.
like you're here. There's not a lot of us. We
Yeah.
do all these things together. It's gonna be really awkward if you and one of the other 5 people in the room like are
Have
super
something.
mad at each other.
Yeah. Have
You
something
know,
going
so
on.
it's like you're pretty much like you have to deal
You
with
have
it.
to deal with it.
And then in like I
Yeah.
find too in healthy community, there's like good perspective, and there's like if someone's like, man, I'm just so mad, and they're like, you should probably go talk to
Yeah.
them about it and like work it out.
I know.
There's like accountability
so
and
good.
just all these different aspects that are
It's
like,
that iron sharpening iron. It's
Yeah.
like we sharpen each other, and like we don't let each other like end on that note and just like stay
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
It's super healthy.
and
Friends don't let friends be mad at friends.
That's right.
I've never heard that phrase before, but I like
Because
it.
I just came up with it just
Oh.
now.
But something
Copyright.
something
Copyright.
that Karim said in a couple episodes ago was like, I'm trying to remember. We were talking about like there needing to be like the sense of pressure in relationship, but I feel like that happens with community too. Like nothing is forged from two things just like laying there without anything. Like
Yeah.
think about like Play-Doh. You gotta like push it together.
Yeah.
And, you gotta like
That's
it takes these moments of like working through stuff.
Right.
And so I feel like that goes for this like small sense of like just you
Yeah.
and me to like this greater sense of like this is how community has to function in
Yeah.
general.
so true. Yeah, it's so necessary for us, and I think Jesus wants it that way. Like, I don't think like if he wanted everything to go perfectly smoothly, he would have forced that. Like he would have
Yeah.
controlled it and like made it go perfectly smoothly. But I think it's for our benefit that things are like it's necessary for us to work things out and do the hard work of of having like close, intimate relationships. And
I keep coming back to Jesus and like
Jesus
his building that idea, and then like that being like, it doesn't matter where you're from, you're a tax collector, you're a zealot, you're this, you're that.
Yes.
And like, but we're going to like build this community.
Right.
And like, I intentionally want it to be challenging.
Yeah.
Like I'm picking like people that I know don't get along.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
But like, it's
so
on
true.
purpose, you know?
I mean, look at where I feel like this is an Acts. Where does Peter, the story of Peter being told like the Gentiles are like allowed into the family?
I think it's Acts.
I think it's Acts. Yeah. He's like, guys, allow them in. Like, allow the hard people in and do the work. You know, like, let's do this.
Jesus doesn't seem to be on this whole like, oh, it's going to be light, fluffy, and really easy train. Oh,
Jesus
man.
is not on that train.
So, the next kind of thing that we want to talk about is like, kind of family as a strategy, but I feel like as far as like spreading the kingdom in general, like the last verse, the last thing that verse says is like, and many were added to their number, and we kind of touched on that. But also like noting that like, it's also the goal. It's like not just a strategy, but like this is like the heart, you know?
The heart of it.
But at the same time, like a crazy strategy of the Lord to like bring people in.
I know.
So like, how have you seen that? Because I'm sure in that community, you saw people were like, I want to be a part of this group, you know?
Oh man. Yeah. I love that aspect of it. Cause it was, because we loved each other so well. And we were just all in, like we were sticking together. We were going to do life together, even when it was like difficult. And I feel like it was just so appealing to people. Like, I think, people would invite their friends. They would like come one time and be like, oh my goodness, like this is something like I've never had and I've needed. And, I feel like there's just this attractiveness, like there's this beauty about like good, healthy community, that just draws people in. And, I really feel like it's part of that, you know, Jesus talks about like, the abundant life he came to bring. It's like part of that, like living within like this family. And so like there, it takes out some of that work of evangelism. Like, I think like, work meaning it takes out some of the, like evangelism sometimes is just as hard, and sometimes it should be, and it will be, you know. But when there's like a really attractive family to come into, like it makes it easy. It's like that when someone feels that sense of I'm welcome here and I'm wanted here, they're just drawn into it, and it expands the kingdom so quickly.
There's this guy named Matt Montgomery who's like a pastor in a church in East Tennessee now that anyway, so he was talking about evangelism, and he was like, I mean, yeah, we should like, I don't know, he was kind of like redefining it a lot within the sense of family, and it's been really like stirring me up, because he's been like, when I talk to you about Jesus, like the point is not like to get you to say a prayer, the point is not to like get you to go to church or adhere to a certain like moral standard, like I'm calling you to come do family with me. And so his whole thing is like, so when I stop and tell, like he had a story of like, I don't know, going to like Walmart or something and telling the like kid who was like pushing carts or something, like about Jesus. But he was like, bro, this is my phone number. This is where I live. Like I'm inviting you into my life. Like if I'm telling you about Jesus, like my door is open to you. And I was like, this is crazy. Like this is like, I feel like this is the kind of stuff that Jesus was like about. And this is like the revolutionary, like we're not, like we're living what we're saying, you know, and we're like being the love. And so I was like, this could be something. Like this is the thing, you know? Yeah. And so
I totally agree. One of the go ahead.
I was just gonna say at the end of the Acts like thing, I'm like, if this is the context that they're living in, like it makes sense that thousands would be added to their number a day. Like I want to be a part of that.
I want to do that.
You know, like there's an aspect of like we're created, like you said, like this was God's purpose originally. This is
Mhm.
like I feel like a major hole
Yeah.
in our like hearts that hasn't been
Yes.
filled, you know?
Yes.
And so even in our like the things that we try to call like community, they're not filling it because they're not actually family.
Yeah.
And so like this
So
this is
true.
what it is. So
I totally agree. Yeah. One of the reasons, like, I feel like, I feel like I had a really good example of community and loving each other well within community from the town I moved from, like my growing up, my younger years. But there was this family who like were so impactful. They were the pastors of our church, and it was just like a rough and tumble church, just like kind of rugged, and like all the ruffians came and like fell in love with Jesus there. And they pastored that church so well, but they always had someone living with them. They just like, they had kind of this open door policy of like, if you need a place to stay, like come stay with us. But even more than that, which was like a silly, like very impactful thing to me, was like, not only was their door open anytime, but like their fridge was open to anyone who needed as well. Like, so like you could live there and you could eat their food like whenever you needed. And it was just like, that's the heart of Jesus, not to like make everyone a perfect people, but to like welcome everyone in, and like everyone has a place here. Like everyone has a place at the table. Everyone has a bed. Like, and it was like, one of the most impactful things to me. And I think that was probably what really started my like, this is what I could, when I was in the place of isolation, I remembered like, but community could be this, like having a family like this. So.
And something you said too earlier was like, you don't need something in return. Like there's this aspect of like loving people, not expecting something.
Yeah.
And something I was pondering the other day that Alina and I were talking about was like, Jesus like does so much for us that we'll like never have any clue.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my goodness.
And I just feel like we're supposed to love each other in the sense of like, even if, you know, Cody never has any idea that I like, I don't know, picked up something he dropped or something, and he like had no idea.
Cleaned his socks every day.
Cleaned his
Trying to tell
socks
me
every
something
day.
like
Yeah.
No.
Picked his
I know,
underwear
yeah.
up
I
off
pick
the
up-
floor.
You know,
Every day.
If
They
I
were so
spray
stinky.
Febreze in his
So
room, and you know, but like
What are
he,
you
All
trying
the
to say,
things
Mike?
you could be doing.
but you know, if he like never knows, like that's fine. Like Jesus is not like, oh, I need you to like validate me in how I'm loving. It's like, I'm gonna love you. This is what it is. And so I don't know, I've just been feeling that, which is hard because on some level I'm like, I want you to see how I'm loving you.
Yeah, I know.
Like I need you to know, and like tell me that you appreciate it, you know, but Jesus is like, nah, I'm good.
No.
Like I'm solid.
I'm solid. I know. You have to get to that place with Jesus that you're like, Jesus, you and I matter, like more than other people. I mean, ever. Yeah. Our relationship matters so much to me that like when I do something for someone else, I actually am doing it for you, Jesus.
Yeah.
And I know you see me, and like you see what I'm doing, and you count it as like more jewels in my crown. No, not really. But you count it as like I am loving you well. Like sometimes I'll like ask Jesus, like, Jesus, what is your love language? And like his love language is like all the things we do to like love others really well. It's like part of like that love language. Like this is how you show
His
Jesus
love language
you
is
love
love.
him. His love language is love. So
Whenever you say
explanatory.
jewels in my crown, I think of Awana. Like the little bead jewels you stuck in your crown whenever you remembered a verse or whatever.
It's hilarious.
Never did want to.
I did
Never
for like a
did
year or
Awana.
two. I didn't get to
I didn't
finish my
wanna.
crown though, and I was so sad because I think we moved or something.
No.
But anyways, there's also an aspect of like a mindset shift from I see a need in this person, but somebody probably take care of it, to like
Yeah.
I'm gonna take care of this right now,
Yeah.
you know.
Come on.
Taking ownership of like,
Yeah.
this is on me to
Yeah.
like
Whether
love
it be
you well.
I'm gonna disciple them,
Yeah.
or they need somewhere to live, or they need some food, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
actually
that's a
caring
super
enough
good
to
point.
find out. It's like,
Right.
do you actually need a place to stay? Because
Right.
like, I'll help you out, you know.
Yeah.
I got a couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might not be the comfiest couch.
I would
right?
say that, but I don't actually have a couch.
I have a couch,
a nice cozy
Yeah.
cement floor in my room.
Oh my goodness.
but there is air conditioning.
There is air conditioning. That's true. And there's usually food.
Ooh, Jesus would be like, you can sleep in my bed. I'll sleep on the concrete floor.
Ah, the pain.
Oof.
Ouch. It hurts. Okay, it hurts.
Oh man. I just feel like that's like Jesus is like, they'll know you by your love. And then like John 17 is a clear example of like,
Yeah.
/ if you don't love each other, they won't
Who are you even
know
following?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
Ooh, 1 John, bam. If you don't love your brother,
Ouch.
you haven't even seen the face of God, sucker.
It hurts.
That's Michael's
know.
paraphrase of
No, that's real. That's really what it means.
come on. So I wanted to specify just that, like, I don't know, this could look a number of ways. Like, you guys like had houses close to each other, but you were intentional. Like, we live on like a property but in different houses.
Yeah.
It looks intentional. For the disciples, they seem to be like on a whole nother level of like moving in together.
Right.
And again, not that I think is particularly a formula, but I think it's that
Yeah.
intentionality,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're not, I don't know, I would almost always opt for the extreme myself. I'm like, let's freaking get a giant house
Yep.
and I'll
Let's
have
do
this
this
room,
thing.
you have that room, we share a kitchen. Like,
Wow.
then you're kind of forced
Yeah.
in some level to, you know,
Yeah.
like extra
Yeah.
hardcore. But at the
You
same
get to
time,
learn to
I
love
recognize,
somebody.
like, in your case, it was like having houses close to each other. But
Yeah.
again, I think like it comes down to that intentionality.
Yeah.
Plus,
I
there's
agree.
something about being in the same building and like you have to learn to love somebody through their like.
Mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
That's a good
looking
word
for
for it.
like weird
Stuff.
Weirdness.
Yeah, the word's not coming, but
I feel like it's a more potent form in that sense. So pray about it.
lifestyles.
Don't
Yeah.
assume that's
Super
not
potent.
Jesus.
We had this other like community, other group of people in our same church. It was a great church, but I'm still there, still in Indianapolis. But this other group of people in the church that we called the Florida people, because it was like 3 families who were from Florida, and they felt like Jesus told them to like all get houses together and then, so that was while they're in Florida. And then they all felt like Jesus said, move to Indiana together. And they're like, what? And so all of them moved to Indiana together. And they just like had meals at each other's houses every night. And they housed, like, there were also like some singles that the families like had lived with them. Does that make sense? Yeah. Within their like the Florida people group. And they just had this radical view. They're still there. Like they have this radical view of community that is just amazing. And I mean, there's definitely I'm sure it's like not easy, but they all like are really intentional to do ministry together. And they kind of like hone in on like they all get together and they're like, Jesus, who do we need to minister to? And then they like choose people to like very intentionally minister to. And like, it's so cool. I mean, they're so cool.
It's so good.
Yeah.
One other thing that I kind of wanted to touch on was like, I mean, we kind of talked about this on some level, I think maybe in our culture episodes, but this could be hard for people in the sense of like, our culture is very like, you have your own space, you have your own house, you have your own thing. But just recognizing like, that's not necessarily Jesus. Like if he calls you to that, sweet. What can community look like within that, knowing that he's calling us to family regardless?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Or like I said, like, is he calling us to like some of these more drastic forms that I think would be super beneficial for a lot of people? And I think he probably actually wants for a lot of people if they're open to like hearing it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of a funny thing. Like we mentioned earlier, like there might be a lot of reasons why people shy away from community and family and different things. But I hear that a lot of people say that like, they're like, oh, if I could live in a community of believers, like things would be easier and better and more life-giving and all this stuff. Too bad I can't.
Right.
And I'm like, but why?
Why aren't you doing it? Yeah.
Like you
What's your
can,
reason?
you know, let's make it happen. Like dinner's at 6, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I feel like just a challenge of like, I don't know. I've just heard so many people like write it off as like, well, of course, you know, that'd be nice, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
And you're like, but why can you not do that? Like, what is God actually saying here? What is God's heart? What is he calling you to? So just like throwing a challenge out there of like, we do it. It's possible.
It is totally possible. Yep. Yeah. It's definitely not always easy, but I mean, I think in some way or another, like we are all called to community, and I think it looks like sacrifice, like making sacrifice of time and schedule, finances, like maybe you don't work as many hours and you don't make as much money, but you like are in community and like you're in such a healthier place and you're growing the kingdom because of it. And I think it's like we need to take that challenge of like, okay, Jesus, what does it look like for me to be in community, and where am I supposed to go, or where do I find it, or how do I create it? Like, who do I talk to and pursue to like be part of a, like community, be part of my family that I need? And like, I think that's really biblical to just like figure that stuff out. And it's so countercultural for us Americans. Us Americans.
And I feel like it's like revolutionary enough, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go. Along these lines, recommend reading No Compromise by Keith Green.
Keith Green.
So good.
Good old Keith.
Well, so that's it.
I think it's a good wrapping up point. I feel
high five.
like.
High five.
Anything else? Anything else? Anybody? Was there any other
burning word?
Things?
Nope.
Alrighty.
Always tastes better the second time. No,
I can never remember. Did we do base happenings first?
No, we do fun questions.
Okay.
Fun question time. All right.
Questions.
Do you want to look one up? I had some good ones the other
Sure.
day. Okay, so got a good question. I think we'll see where it goes. When you're having a bad day, what do you do to make yourself feel better? When we're gonna go ahead and like just cross out praying, because I feel like that should be the answer.
That's the first answer.
And if it wasn't, then I mean, I don't know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, we could all just say praying and then it's over and that's it.
Praying, done.
Fun,
last step.
fun answers. Hammock.
Oh, wow. Good one. Hammocking.
Pastries.
Yep.
I like where this is going.
Tell me more. Sounds like a good date.
Yeah.
That would be.
It
That's
does.
like
I'll
your
go on this
ultimate
date
with Jesus.
Date with Jesus. Leave room.
Yeah, I don't know what else. Music is definitely up there.
Yeah.
Music is.
Those are probably my top ones.
Good job.
What about you, Hannah?
I mean, I love the gym. If I'm having a good day, I want to go to the gym. If I'm having a bad day, I want to go to the gym.
Who's Jim? I'm just kidding.
Does Luke know?
Does Luke know? Luke knows.
Yeah, she's like super buff. You guys can't see.
Yeah, I'm really
shredded.
Shredded. Wow, that's the word. That's the word I wanted to
put
define
Brent to
myself.
shame.
Yeah, the gym really helps me. Helps my mood. Helps my emotional state. If you need to even out your emotions, go to the gym. Things will all get worked out. And it's all gonna be fine. You know.
I don't relate at all to that. I don't think I've ever actually been to a gym though. So
what? Like a real one?
Yeah. Like the Y when I was a child, you know. But
yeah, I like the gym. I think that's my top and only answer. That's my final answer.
That's my final.
Perfect.
Well, I think for me, maybe music. Probably music. Probably listening to music. Yeah, because I feel like I can't be in a bad mood if I'm like listening to like Josh Garrels or somebody.
Right.
You know, or like turn on some Beethoven or something. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But
all your worries.
You need some
gone.
country music for your woes.
Going on a walk. Golly gee, get out of here. Going on a walk too would be
a romantic walk with Alina.
Romantic walk with Alina. Precisely. It actually really does. Sometimes it helps to get like
away.
I don't know, just away
out of the house. Oh yeah.
But we don't like go and do a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have like hobbies outside of like I don't know, like we're pretty invested here, you know. We don't
Yeah.
like go play baseball or go to the gym even or anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
going for walks has been like really good recently.
That's good. That's a good thing to
Yeah.
do.
But anyways, there's that.
And so that's
Cool.
that.
Now we all know something about each other.
So base happenings, DTS is coming up, Cyber Training School.
Yep.
It's not too
On
late.
September 20th, 2020.
Well, it'll be pretty darn close, but it's not
Yeah.
too late.
There's also
on.
one March 28th.
That's true. We're gonna start
Yeah.
pushing that one, I guess. Well, except this won't be happening. But March 28th, there's
Yeah.
school happening.
It's gonna be great.
Yes.
Be there.
It's gonna be cray.
It's gonna
Cray
be
cray.
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 We might have just dated ourselves. But anyways, well, that's that. I think. Any other base happenings we wanted to say?
That's-
you can always come to worship and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
can always come to
Intercession.
or
which
the
means
both
prayer.
of them. Yeah, which is a fancy word for prayer. We did an episode on that if you want to listen to that. So Mondays at 8:30 a.m. is worship. Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. is worship and intercession. And these all go like an hour, give or
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
And then Friday, intercession, just intercession, also at 8:30 a.m. / check out our social media. We'll probably do like some community nights and some different things.
Yeah.
Maybe like youth nights and stuff. So
It's mucho fun.
it's going to be awesome.
Mucho.
Come meet all the people that you've heard talk from this season,
Yep.
unless somebody leaves.
Yeah.
You won't
But-
know who I am because I have a very different voice.
It's true. She's
When
a
I'm
little-
Just
normal.
look for the
sickly.
shredded mom. that's what you're looking for
No.
with the curly hair.
Oh man. So sneak peek though, season 2, we'll probably have some of the speakers from this fall school recorded, and so you'll get a
Good
little
idea.
bonus snippets
Bonus.
to
Bonus chunks.
bonus chunks.
Bonus chunk.
Anyways, you get some good stuff from that probably on
Oh,
season
man.
2. So prepare yourself.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna
True
be
that.
great.
We don't know when it's happening yet though. So
Is this it?
this is it. This is the grand finale.
Yeah.
Oh, the grand
I feel
finale.
so honored to be
We
on
need,
the
like,
grand
fireworks or
finale.
You guys hear that? That's fireworks.
Wow.
Can't see it, but they're there.
Just imagine them.
Maybe this is the end. But the end is just another door.
Oh, I thought you were going to Lion K on me. But then you switched it at the last second.
So yeah, it's been fun. We'll probably be back for season 2 unless the world ends or something. So yeah, thanks for joining us, Hannah.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
am honored.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And thank you, listeners.
For listening.
Thank you,
All 20 of
listener,
you.
for joining us. Yeah. Also, if you like the podcast and are sad it's ending, you can tell us.
Comment below.
Oh yeah.
If you have anything, comments, questions, concerns about podcasts, you can email us at podcast@ymnashville.org. That will still be a thing. Also, any just general YWAM Nash stuff, then we will. You can email us at info@ymnashville.org.
Yeah.
Eventually, you will probably hear our voices again.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Eventually! All right.
Farewell.
Goodbye.
Fare thee well, friend.
Goodbye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Goodbye.
Ow. Goodbye, friends.
Goodbye.
You're still here? Oh, the episode's over.
Go home, Dale.
You can go home now.